Since the dawn of man, we've looked up the stars and wondered. The night skies give cryptic answers, but still we ask and wonder. Curiosity has led us to many strange places. Sometimes we're rewarded by the curiosity, and sometimes we regret what we find lurking in the darkness. This is my journey, an attempt to bring lightness to dark places and understanding where there's been only mystery. Please join me as I traverse the night. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Nighttripper. I am joined today with a good friend, Feizal Mowlabocus. Good evening.
Perfect.
Good late evening for you. Faisal
Yes.
is in the UK. You're London?
Yeah, London.
London area. And so
So
it's late. It's late for him. So if he yawns, take no offense. It's not his fault. It's my fault. I pushed our interview a little bit late because I had to take care of some other obligations, but I am grateful. I've been so excited. Feizal was nice enough. I guess we were just talking about it. He had caught this show, didn't know, like, what is this? And started watching it, and dug it. And then I think you made a comment or two on the show saying you liked it. And then you had reached out and said, hey, I would like to be on the show. And that always, like, that's the goal. Like, I want people to reach out to me and be like, hey, I've got, I've seen things. And even if, you haven't really seen anything, like I just love talking to people and hearing their, viewpoints on, the weird, the paranormal, the strange, all of that stuff. There's people that believe certain things. People believe, they believe ghosts, but they don't believe UFOs, or they believe UFOs, but they don't believe Bigfoot. They don't believe, and that's totally fine. This show kind of, I want to bring some understanding or some light to a little bit of everything with respect. Like if there's an interesting, my friend DC, he has sent me a lot of information about the Appalachians, and I really want to dig into that area because it's really rich with lore, Tennessee and all those areas. So I really want to respect that region and really dig in. So I'm going to do like a multi-part episode focusing on that, but also like, I just did one with UFOs. And I was kind of just talking, about it as like just thoughts, but I really want to focus and like pick different cases that have occurred in the past and kind of focus on those and, really try to change people's minds or bring some understanding to things that people may not believe or, are not sure about. So that's kind of what this show is about, is just kind of bringing a little bit of light to the darkness, but not being afraid of the darkness, not afraid to walk into it and worry about what's there. But how are you, man? How are you doing? It's good to see you.
Good. I'm good. The weather's changing here a bit. It's getting a bit milder.
Yeah,
a lot of rain. So I'm waiting for dry days so I can go out exploring more with Elijah.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, we just had a tornado.
No, really?
Touchdown, and it unfortunately took a few people's lives. But nature to me is way scarier than a ghost. Like nature makes
nature will kill you.
Yeah, nature will kill you quick, man. I mean,
nature.
There's these. I remember seeing these videos of, I don't remember where this. It was like a flood in was it Taiwan? But it was like there was like a shift in the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
And it created like this vacuum where the water went down and then it came back up and then it all went and it just washed these villages away. And I wish I could remember the name, but it just made me feel like we are insignificant. We're ants, you know, on the Earth's crust. And so nature doesn't play. Nature doesn't care. It will wipe us out, no problem. But so I know you through a community that we have. It's like a toy community, collectors. You guys take pictures and stuff like that, and I've gone with you guys to do a little photography and stuff. So you and Elijah, our good buddy Elijah, we're all friends with, and we hang out. And I see you usually every November. I got to meet you last year officially, but I think we had met before that, but not in person. So.
Sure.
So I'm grateful to, you know, have spent a little bit of time with you, and I really am.
Likewise.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to knowing you better and sharing with you, like, or you sharing with me experiences that you've had. You did say that you had a few stories, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want to hear. You got some good stuff, and I always like to ask people, tell me what you've seen, and that kind of breaks the ice, you know, and I can share maybe what I've seen or something that might be related to that. It's just, you know, how I do things. So tell me start with like what are some of the things that you believe in or don't believe in?
You know, since I first reached out, the more I thought about it, I've got a lot of stories actually.
That's great.
Some with my mum. Had some experiences. I've had some experiences. Some things I've dealt with when I was in the police that were seriously weird. Yeah, quite a few. So if you can't fit them all in, I might have to go back from another show.
Now, can I ask you, Feizal? Like, did you always kind of have an open mind? Did you always kind of believe that there was a possibility that there was things that are maybe unexplained, or was it like you had to believe once you started seeing things or your mom started telling you about things? Like,
I think for me, it started very young. Like I've always had a fascination with the unusual, the strange, the scary even. So I'll be that kid always going to the library, getting out books that are probably above my age. Like the paranormal,
I did the same thing.
Mysteries and things. Yeah. So you understand. And but my mum was always interested in that. So she still is, but she was always interested in that. So I talked to her about it, a bit of my dad as well. I've got an older sister, and she's very much interested in that as well. So I think all of us. But I think a lot of that stems from my parents were both born in Mauritius, a small island in the Indian Ocean, and you get with a lot of I guess what we call island culture is a lot of superstition. So from there was they told me a lot of experiences that their grandparents that they've had, that members of their family have had out in Mauritius with some weird stuff. So they're always kind of like piqued my interest. You know, like when you're kind of at the tail end of a party, the family gathering, and you kind of like it's time to go to bed. But then like you try and peek around the door and you hear the adults all talking about stuff that they don't want you to hear about. I'm like, this is the stuff I want to hear.
And sometimes
kind of secretly listening.
Sometimes you're glad to hear it, and other times you're like, man, I wish I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, you can't sleep.
You know? But I am curious about like other cultures and other, you know, and other regions, how they feel about, you know, like it might be natural to believe in this or that, or it might just be part of nature and not something so mysterious. So that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I think the further back you go in cultures, with some of the more traditional and older cultures, like I think you find a much broader understanding of it in terms of like it's just a fact of the world, just the way things are. Like there's things there we can't see, and we can't, whether it's the spirit world, or if you go to, I think, just about any culture on earth, you go back far enough, you're going to find talks of spirits and entities and sort of life after death and things. I think it's pretty much everywhere. I think as cultures have got more civilized, they kind of like push it to one side, thinking, that's that old stuff, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not there.
Now, do you think that like that kind of like paranormal and ghosts and all that, is it like pop culture-ish in other countries? Because like us, we kind of make it like not a joke, but like, we've got scary movies and stuff like that where it's like, I don't know, I don't think we take it as seriously, and I wonder if other countries are the same way. Or
I think some countries take it a lot more seriously. And again, that's going to be, most countries you're going to get like a more modern way of thinking, but the underbelly, you're going to find it. But if you go to some very old countries, like I think most of Europe, Eastern Europe, and I think you're gonna find a lot of people that just see it as a matter of fact. I think I've always been very open-minded. Like I consider myself like a healthy amount of skepticism, because a lot of things can be debunked and proved as not what you thought it was, or the mind can be very easily manipulated.
True, absolutely.
Yeah, and people can kind of get like their own fear can get so carried away. So like hear a bump in the night and you think, all of a sudden you get scared, and then like literally every bump after that, oh my god, it's a ghost.
I'm telling you, after I tape these shows, like I'll go to bed and I'm like, what was that? What was that? Or the dogs will start barking out the window, and I'm like, shh, cut that out. But
the dog starts barking at nothing in the corner of the room.
I hate that. I used to have a dog. I had a dog that would stare at the ceiling, and he would just look like he was like looking at something specific. And I'm like, hey, cut that out. You're freaking me out, dude.
I think animals, because they're a bit more primal than we are way more tuned into it. Because you'll see it with the oncoming of storms. You'll see farm animals go berserk. Like animals freak out all kinds. But I tend to trust them. I tend to trust their instincts.
100%. I was going to say that.
Our instincts have become a lot more numbed through technology and things. But I
think that's a big thing, because like people that are more open-minded, I think are more apt to witness things than people are like, nah, that was nothing. You know what I mean? Like I think that, people that have more of a scientific and more of a skeptical brain are not going to think that, what they just saw was, a shadow or a white or a spirit or something. They're going to be like, no, that was a shadow from the, the moon over the trees or something,
Yeah, so I guess you can go too far either way. Like you can be like this, it doesn't matter what you've seen. Definitely it's this. Or you can be the other way, saying, look, it wasn't that, it was imagination, it was this, it was that, like to the point where they're not even rational. So I try to be more balanced, so I can kind of go either way. But my fascination is very deep seated into the unusual and stuff. So
it's definitely a hereditary thing too, I think. Like my mom was really into it. My dad could care less. Like I'm like, Dad, there's ghosts here. He's like, whatever. But my mom was totally interested in that stuff. And I think it like carried over into me and my sister. So maybe you got that, your whole family. Your whole family. So
like my parents both believe. My dad doesn't like to talk about it that much. I think he doesn't like to admit, but I think it freaks him out a little bit. But my mum I can talk to into the early hours. It's like we used to have like a bit of a tradition when I used to live at home. They sometimes have like these like old black and white horror movies they put on. There was I think this show called Dr. Terror's Vault of Horror. They had this guy with a mask, and they come and like announce these different movies, and then like they put on like old Hammer horror films and that. And my
Yeah.
dad would be like, "Oh, I'm going to bed. You weirdos can watch this." me and my mum would be up watching these movies, and then she want to go to the toilet. She's like, "Can you wait us on the door?"
Me and my sister were like that. We would be too scared. You know, we'd sleep in the living room. You know, she'd be on the couch and I'd be on the floor because we were too scared to sleep in separate rooms. You know, there's strength in numbers, you know.
Yeah. But I kind of like, I've got very fond memories of that. Like, that's a very like happy part of my childhood. Yeah. Staying at my mum at Halloween and watching movies and things. Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell me about, like, what were some of the first memories that you have of experiencing things or seeing things that were strange, or share stories from your mom too, if you want.
I think the earliest stories I heard were from my parents, and they were kind of more like warnings. So these are experiences that they've had and they've seen, or family have had. Like back in Mauritius, my granddad. Been attacked.
All right, yeah, they're like, oh, story starting. Let's scare Greg.
So it was one story of my granddad back in Mauritius. He was walking home, I think probably, I don't know, playing dominoes with his friends or something. So back walking home at late, and knowing the country back then, you're talking unmade roads, no street lights. The country barely had any cars. So at night time was dead silent. So he was walking home past his big sugarcane field. It was moonlit, so you could see where he was going. And then he heard like the sound of hooves behind him. And there was no animals around. There was nothing around. But he heard the sound of the hooves behind him, so he just carried on walking. And being quite a religious man, my dad's side of the family were Muslim, so he started saying a prayer and stuff. And he felt like the horse's breath like behind him, and he was pretty sure there was nothing there. He walked all the way back home. I think went inside the house, grabbed a handful of rice, said a prayer, threw it over his shoulder, went into the house. But
what is the rice?
I'm not sure. Like I'm guessing it's some kind of
offering, or maybe
it's like salt, kind of like a barrier or something. But it said some prayers. But there's loads of stories like that back in Mauritius that was just really weird. Like I think one day he was walking. I think someone he knew was walking home. He started raining money.
Wow.
No, just money. So he's just like, he picked it up, but it's like, I mean, being religious, they're like, oh, he must be a gift from God or something. But maybe a drug dealer threw out.
Was it coins or?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm hoping it was notes, because coins would be painful.
Yeah, it would be.
Like shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was.
That had to be a long walk home too for him, with the breathing behind him.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you want to, like, there has to be something within you where you're like, I just want to run. I just want to run as fast as I can and try to get away from this. But I think kind of keeping that control, fighting down that fear is probably your best thing.
You know, there was a crossroads, and I've driven past it as a kid, and there was a house. It's always kind of being worked on, and I think as a kid I went back to Mauritius quite a few times to see family and that. So one year I went, and next year I went back again, and the house was still not finished. I was like, they've not finished that house yet. And then my uncle was driving. They kind of went a bit quiet. And then when I got back to the family house, I asked him about the house again. He said, look, he says, there's been several crews of workmen that have tried to finish that house and no one can. He says the first lot went in and tools were being moved. They saw some weird shit, and they literally left their tools as they were and just ran out of the house. And they refused to come back. So like the owner had to literally pick all their tools up to get it back to them. And they're like, we can't go back to that house. But a second company, they got another company to go in, and the same thing. Stuff was getting thrown around and things. So they were like, we can't work here. So I'm not sure whether the house was ever finished, but something was going on in that place. And again, there's a lot of symbolism around crossroads, and it was on a crossroad. So
it's almost like a normal thing where your parents would tell you about, happenings or things that went on, but it was like, I feel like maybe they weren't skeptical about it. They just kind of accepted it like that's what it is. And
I think the willingness to be aware of it and to be cautious, just be aware that there's some weird stuff out there that may freak you out and you understand. But I think some of the main stories my mum told me was when she came to England when she was 18.
Mm-hmm.
She came here to go into nursing, so she worked in a psychiatric hospital. So they had the nurses' accommodation on the grounds, kind of like, I guess, like halls of residence in the university. Mm-hmm. So whilst they were studying, they were staying on the grounds of the hospital. It's like an old Victorian hospital, kind of late 1800s. So back when it was, I think when it first opened, it was an asylum. The old days of mental health nursing. So you got the Victorian era, 2 world wars, which it was used as an infirmary. So a lot of stories in the hospital.
I can imagine.
There's only one small ward left. The rest of it was demolished. It's like a big housing place now. It's quite nice. But I know where the morgue was and things, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I don't know the people who live there. I don't know whether they know exactly where they are. But the only ward left is like the lock ward, kind of the dangerous ward.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of one, but that's the one that's left over. But when she was there, so still probably like, I don't know, 19, 20 years old, they were still students, and they were doing ward rounds at the end of a shift with one of the doctors. And one of that students said, "Oh, I found a Ouija board," and it's like, "Oh, we were going to go back to my room," and my mum was just straight out. She was like, "Nope."
No.
She's like, I'm going to go back to my room. I'm going to hit the books, because she's quite smart, academic. And she's like, I'm going to study, but I'm not doing it. She didn't give her reasons. I know why, because she believes in these kind of things.
Right.
But when they were talking about, I think it was a male nurse and 2 other female nurses, and they all said, let's do it. One of the patients overheard them talking and had a go at them. The patient used to be a nurse at the hospital. Not quite sure what happened to her, but she ended up being a patient, bless her. And she was very religious, and she warned them. She said, "Don't mess around with things you don't understand."
Right.
Because if you mess around with that, the only way you're leaving here is feet first. This is kind of, for them, made it more exciting. I think they were like, "Oh, we've got to do it now."
See, I would have been like, "Yeah, you're right. I would listen." You
should probably listen to your elders. So my mum, obviously, she's telling me what they told her the next day, because she didn't go. So the next morning, she asked them, like, what happened last night, and they were all a bit shaken. And she said, "What happened?" And they said, "Oh, like the planchette, the pointer thing, they didn't have one with it, so they used like a shot glass or something. They're kind of using that." They were asking loads of questions, and it was literally coming out with nothing. So they were about to give up, and then it spelled out an address that none of them knew. They just gave out an address, and because it was something so specific that no one asked for, they were pretty freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, "Shit."
That's specific for sure.
Yeah, they broke the shot glass and got rid of the thing. They're like, "No, fuck this." Like, let's call it a day. The morning when they went round to do the rounds to see the patients, the patient that warned them was found dead. She was kind of in a kneeling position, praying with a Bible in front of her, and she died there and then.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, you could look at that. I mean,
right?
Anything could have happened, but like that added to the fear
for sure.
But about a week or so, the male student, nurse. He'd recently got married and was recently got engaged, and he was house hunting with his fiancée. So he'd been to see a few addresses already, but he went to his estate agent who he was dealing with, and said, "Oh, you know, what other property have you got kind of within the things? Oh, I've got a few on the list. I've got 3 properties that I've got lined up for you to look at." He looked at the list, and the address, one of the addresses on the list was what came out on the Ouija board. So he was like, "Okay, not that one. I check out those 2.
Not that one."
He said, "Scrub that one."
No.
He didn't give a reason. He's like, "No, I'm not interested in that one. I'll look at the other 2.
Trust me, I don't want that one.
What the hell?
Wow.
Like, I mean, yeah.
I think the world's like, there's so many different, like, it's like a fabric or tapestry that, you know, people have said that a million times, but I think there's so many different machinations and inner working things that we can't see. And like, there's things that we just don't understand or comprehend. And I think like that, you know, maybe Ouija boards, maybe the lady that passed, maybe, you know, the address, like there's so many connecting weird things that we are never going to be able to figure out how or why or what it even means. You know what I mean?
Maybe we're not supposed to. Like, I think
maybe we don't want to.
I think we're probably too curious for our own good.
Yes.
So kind of like we constantly, you know, that quest for knowledge, and we need to know everything and how everything works and everything. But there's some things that are hard to understand, and obviously those that are more skeptical because you know, it's all rubbish and stuff. But I don't think you should be that dismissive.
I agree.
Don't be scared of it. Like, accept it. Like, I'm not really that scared. Like, I'm sure that there's things that could happen that could freak me out. But unless you're talking about demonic entities, that kind of stuff kind of weirds me out because
I don't want nothing to do with that stuff.
People talk about interdimensional beings. I'm like, you know, when it comes to like spirits of people that are passed, I don't think that's anything to be scared about because they can't really do anything to you.
I agree.
Totally they can make you jump, but you might be like surprised, but they're not going to do anything to you. Like, they're just.
Well, I think
they're there for some reason or not.
I think part of it is that it's been instilled in us to be afraid of, you know, ghosts and goblins and ghouls and all that stuff. Halloween, like it's kind of ingrained upon us to be afraid. But also, I think deeper, it's that. What is that? Like, what am I looking at right now? What is this that's in front of me? Like that, like, I think it's like a fight or flight. It's like a natural, like,
this is a beautiful thing. Yeah, for sure.
Right. But I think like older generations, like they were more kind of in tuned, I think, to, you know, nature and what's out there and legends and things that folklore that they were brought up with. So they probably had that natural, you know, fear and respect for that stuff. And I think young people these days, they don't really have that same kind of, you know, generational, you know, warning device or generational, you know.
I think a lot of it's being lost.
Yes.
Another story my mum told me from the same hospital, Bexley Hospital, was again still in her student days. One of the wards, the colour picture, I think I know exactly where it was, because I used to play around in the hospital quite a lot. My mum worked shifts. And sometimes I'd be running around the hospital and getting chased by patients and shit.
Good old days.
At times traumatic, but in general, loads of like nice nurses that were like all like aunties and uncles. So it was really cool. But yeah, she said that there was one of the things they had to do at the end of a late shift that get all the patients like put their shoes and their socks in a little pile with like the fresh clothing and linen all for the next day. So the morning shift come in and it's all there to like make the bed and dress the patients and stuff. So at the end of each bed, they'd leave this pile of clothing and shoes and things, and you know the old matrons, they would check to make sure you've done it perfectly, perfectly square like the military. Otherwise you'd get it in the ear. So they lived that, and then quite a few times in the morning, the early staff would come in, and the stuff would be literally all over the place, like thrown all over the floor, shoe one there, one shoe over there, and they'd get really annoyed at the night staff, thinking, "What the hell are these people playing at?" They just rushed it, or they just like throwing shit on the thing because they want to go home early. And it happened a few times, and there was arguments between the late shift and the early shift. And then one of the patients was within earshot of this one day, and she said, "It's one of you lot." And she said, "What do you mean?" She says, "It's one of you lot that are doing it," because they thought it was more than likely one of the patients, because it is a psychiatric hospital with a lot of mentally ill people there. And she said, "No, it's one of your lot that keeps doing it." And she's like, "What do you mean one of our lot?" She goes, "It's like you, but with like the longer dress and like the paper hat things, like." Just basically describing like the Victorian era nurses. And so it's one of your lot that messes it all up. So my mum said, yeah, maybe it was a spirit of like one of the old nurses there. That either she was, I don't know, hated her job, or she was actually a bit of a joker, like a practical joker, just kind of running around messing stuff up just to cause problems, you know, one of those people. But there's many stories like that, loads of stories at the hospital.
I think that's interesting. Like, I have never seen a manifestation that looked like a person. You know, like I've seen like glowing, you know, like orbs or like moving, you know, black flashes or whatever, but I've never seen where I'm like, is that a person? You know, I've never, and I'm just so curious about what that looks like, you know, like, because so like that patient, like they saw who they thought was like a real person, and it was not a person. I have a short story that reminded me, like you telling me that. So when here's a story for you. I got a story for you.
No, go
for it. So I was my first marriage, my sister's parents, or my sister's in-laws, they had a beach house, and we would go and we would visit them. We would all kind of go together. It was a small little beach house. This was in California, and it was me, my ex-wife or wife then, my stepson, and my sister, her husband, and then his parents. And you know, we would say, "Hey, can we come and visit?" And sure. And so the mom of one of his parents was still alive, and she started dating an older gentleman. She didn't live there at the house, but I think she lived there for a little while. Anyways, I'm making this story more difficult or more clouded, but anyways, she was dating this guy. The guy passed away. I don't know if he passed away at this house, right? I don't know. I met him once, really nice guy. Anyways, so flash forward maybe a year or two later, and we had spent the night, and I wake up, and me and my wife had our own room, and I get up and I go and I take a shower, and then I go back into the our bedroom, and I'm getting dressed, and my wife is like, "Hey, ask Brian," that's my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. "Ask Brian why he came and woke me up last night." And I kind of like, that's strange. Why would he wake you up? She goes, "I don't know. It was an odd." And I said, "Okay." So I was kind of mad. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of irritated. Like, why would you come into our room and wake up my wife? So I went, you know, not super mad, but I was just kind of like, this is weird. So I went over to him in the living room, and I'm like, "Hey man, Melanie was wondering why you woke woke her up. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I was not in there. And so we're like kind of scratching our head like, that's weird. And so I asked Melanie, my ex-wife, I go, do you remember? So we all kind of came together, and it was my sister and her husband, Brian, and then his parents. And we're like, what did Brian say? And she's like, well, I thought it was Brian because he had a baseball hat, and he had kind of like a windbreaker. And do you remember what he said? And she's like, yeah, he said something about, before you fall asleep, turn the lights out. And like Brian's mom like freaked out because she's like, her mom's husband or boyfriend or husband, I think they got married, he would like go and he was a stickler. He would like, make sure you turn the lights out before you go to sleep. He was dead. He had been dead for a while. So this apparition, this spirit came, and my wife Melanie, she's like, he like was real gentle, really kind, but he like tapped me on my my shoulder like, honey, make sure you turn off the lights before you fall asleep. And she's like, okay, and she just assumed that it was Brian because of the hat, but she's like, she didn't really get a good look at his face. But she was like, I wasn't scared, I was just kind of like, not a big deal, not really. But like after that, she's like, I don't want to ever spend the night here again. I don't ever want to. But that was totally an apparition of this person. Like that was that person, because the manners, the politeness, what he said, like she had never met this guy. Like she had never met him. I had met him separately. So my wife had never met this guy. So she was freaked out. But, like that's another thing where we talk about like ghosts. It doesn't necessarily have to be a scary thing,
But I think if you can get past the fear side of it, that's actually quite sweet.
It was, yeah. It was, yeah.
Like he's still trying to be him. He still cares.
Yes.
Do you know one theory I heard about how some apparitions can look more real than others? And I think in some places it's been documented over a period of decades, where if you go back, I don't know, so many years, people at a certain place see like a woman, like a full-bodied apparition. But there's a theory that kind of over time, the kind of energy wanes, and they kind of get more and more faded. So that's when you probably start to see like you barely see them, or there might be like a shadow or a white wisp, but then eventually they'll just disappear and be gone. So that's one theory I heard on the Paranormal Channel, why people can go to the same place over the period of like 50 to 100 years, and the accounts will be different. No, I know it's definitely a white lady. So no, when I was there, it was like a green lady, or when I was there, it was only just like the top half.
Right.
It kind of reminds me, like
then it was just the head, and then it was just the teeth or something.
Back to the Future with the photograph, and the body starts fading away.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I've heard that, like, maybe traumatic events, like somebody getting somebody getting hit by a train in their car, or somebody getting murdered in this building or whatever. Like maybe the event, like there's something there where it records that or keeps some of that energy or something. Or maybe it's just the person, like they're so traumatized by their life ending suddenly that like they haven't figured shit out. Like, where am I supposed to go? Like, there's no handbook like Beetlejuice, what am I supposed to do? Like, and so maybe they get trapped. Maybe they don't understand like what the next thing is, or they're not ready to leave. Like, I get that. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's like a consciousness thing, or like their energy is not ready to depart, or maybe they still, maybe they love the people that are in that house or whatever so much that they don't want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, some could say like it's for justice. First, I used to say they were run over by someone. They were like, I want justice for my. I wasn't supposed to die. I've got things I wanted to do in my life.
Right.
I've got kids I wanted to raise, or a woman I wanted to marry.
That's tragic, because they'll never.
That's heartbreaking, man. It's really
they'll
sad.
never be able to find peace.
Yeah, so I think if it is down to like energy in the end, like we are all energy.
Energy.
Like, you can plug this up to machines, and our body's got enough power to power
right.
stuff.
Exactly.
Like, we've got a certain amount of energy in us.
Yes.
And you can go back to ancient peoples where they're kind of trying to harness that energy. You go back to like Chinese kung fu, would be like chi, they call it chi.
Yes.
Or they call it other things in other cultures, but it's basically just your body's life energy, and trying to harness it for better health.
I believe that, dude. I totally believe it.
Like, yeah, I think what's it the laws of thermodynamics? You can't stop energy. You can just change its states, right? So you can't just like invent energy or delete it. Like it's there,
right?
It changes states. So I think basically
these damn dogs.
your dog's sensing a change in energy, but yeah, I think it's changing states.
I totally agree. Yeah, the older I get, the more I believe, and I'm not saying I don't believe in religion, because I do. I was raised in a specific religion, but I believe that the information is maybe not quite accurate. Like I believe that we, like somebody said once, that once we pass, like once we leave this body, our energy goes back to the source of like this grand energy, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I could see that, maybe you might call that heaven, or maybe you might call that afterlife or whatever. And I don't know, but I don't know. That's just, but yeah, I believe in that energy thing. Totally. It makes sense to me, because, we're alive and present, and bodies are moving, these amazing machines that we're born in are I'm sure that you've seen someone alive 1 second and then the next second they're gone. Like that body is just a shell. That energy is not there anymore, and it's not coming back.
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of death. I've dealt with a lot of dead bodies, from natural causes to murder to suicides to some of the most horrendous accidents you can imagine. Like I've been around a lot of it with the old job, so I've got quite a grounded viewpoint when it comes to death. Like I mean, it's one thing when you're dealing with strangers, like it's different if it's like a friend or family,
right?
But like it's nothing that's ever kind of weirded me out. Like if a call come out on the radio of like a sudden death, or I'm normally one of the first ones to call up for it, because I don't mind dealing with that. Like, you have to have compassion with families and family members, and be professional. You know what you need to do. So like I didn't mind that. Like the death is a part of life. It's part of that
nature, natural.
So yeah, and it's a difficult thing for people to deal with. So I want to go there and try to make it easy for them. As easy as you can do.
Right. So your mindset is helping and trying to do what you can to help and bring some order to a chaotic event, maybe
in a very difficult time. And again, I'm not squeamish either. I think my love of horror films at a young age has actually prepared me.
Right.
So when I saw things for real, I was like, okay, they've got a job to do. I'll just get on with it. And even afterwards, like nothing really kind of like stayed with me. Only one thing ever stayed with me for one night. I processed it and it was gone. It was the first. I was still in my probation period in the police. So I joined the police in 2006 and left in 2014. But in my probation period, I went to my first hanging. There was a guy that had hung himself.
That's terrible.
I think he was like 15 or 16 years old. So he was
terrible.
He was getting ready to do his like exams and things at high school, and his mum had called in a complete state. It was a Asian family, it's a Sikh family. So this guy Jim I was with, we attended, and like opened the doors open, staircase, and then the hallway. The mum was on the phone, literally holding his hand as he was hanging there, like just crying her eyes out. I had to literally get out of the way and deal with this guy. And he was a spitting image of a good friend of mine at the time.
That had to throw you. It had to throw you. Like
at first, it didn't throw me. Like I was just like, okay, shit. I felt his body, and it was still warm. So I'm like, shit. It's like he's only he's not been there for long. We couldn't do anything. Like he'd gone. We tried, but got him down. Got the paramedics to turn up and say, yeah, they declared him life extinct. Then we cracked on from there. He ended up being a bit weirder than we thought, but I won't go into it because it's quite personal for that family.
Right, for sure.
But it was only when I went to bed that night. I was lying in bed, kind of processing the day, and then at the time I was still at my parents', and the layout of my parents' house is quite similar to the layout of the house that happened in. So I'm lying in my bedroom, and if I open my bedroom door, there's like a loft hatch, and he'd hung himself from the ladder from the loft hatch. Actually, with his own, he used his turban around his neck and whatever. And like I was just about to go to bed. And I looked, and like I had like a picture in my head of my friend hanging there in the same position, my friend Ajit. And it kind of weirded me out a bit, thinking, shit, that did look like him.
Yeah.
I only had that once, and then never had that again.
Our minds.
I was like, okay, that was weird, but then like my brain processed it, and I moved on from there.
Yeah, that's good that you're able to like let things go and not, hang on to that stuff, because I think there's a toll,
Yeah, and it's evident. Like I've known of people that have had to leave the job or ended up being actually being sectioned on mental health for things they've been through.
Right.
Like some pretty big disasters and multiple casualties and things like train disasters, fires and things, and it's quite difficult to come back from.
I couldn't do it.
There's like it's not for everyone, and there's no shame in that. Like it's not normal to be dealing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think they say that most people have like something like 2 to 3 majorly traumatic incidents in their whole life.
Right.
So in a police career, you could have hundreds.
Yeah,
that's hundreds upon hundreds, and like you don't really know how you can react until you're there. Like they can train you so much, but they can't train you to like, oh, that's what someone's insides looks like, or that's what it's like to see a dead kid.
Yeah.
Mum crying next to it. It's like nothing could prepare for that shit.
Yeah. And I think every person is different, like how you can process it. Are you able to deal with that and you leave it at work and go home and,
Yeah. I mean, some cops would go home and start drinking, or I'll hit the gym. Like I've had a tough shift. I'll hit the gym, and that's kind of like my go-to. That helped me a lot.
I tried. I wanted to be a fireman when I was young, and the course of that was to be an emergency medical technician at EMT, and so I had gone to school for that, and I had gone through the whole thing, and then I was doing fire academy at the same time, and at the end of the EMT thing, you had to do we call them ride-alongs. Where you go a 12-hour shift in an ambulance, and just going from call to call. I think the first call was an older lady that had just died. She was, changing her clothes, and it was a rest home, and she just had a heart attack and fell down and rolled under the bed and died. But like I was like in shock. I wasn't traumatized, but I was just like not used to seeing that type of scenario.
Most aren't.
Huh?
most people aren't like most people don't.
Yeah, it was just
often feel
alarming
like
to
that.
me. I was like,
It's a lot
whoa,
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like we would go to like from each call, like it was something different. Each call was different. And like the people that I was with were like excited, oh, we're gonna mash casualty triage, there's multiple car accident, up ahead, and they would be like pumped. And I'm like, I'm worried about seeing stuff that I'm gonna take home with me, and have to, see over and over in my mind. And I'm like, this is not for me. Like, I'm not one of those
understandable.
that
Sure.
gets off on that kind of adrenaline rush. I'm like, nope. I would rather open figures and watch a good movie and I'm not into that type. But I totally respect people that can do that and be okay, without it ruining their lives. So thank you for your service, and I respect people that can do that and can help, because the world, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it without people like you guys that are able to help and have that helping thing, but also be able to deal with like people's worst day, to be able to process that is
you always need it. Like it's people dealing with people. That's all the job is like literally humans dealing with other humans and their problems.
Yeah.
There was something. There was one main thing that happened when I was in the police that that quite freaked me out. I was crewed up with a really good friend of mine, really good cop. Joined about a year or so after me, a guy called Chris. Used to be a journalist, so super sharp, photographic memory, like genuinely, really switched on. Plus, he was like 6'3", played football at like county level.
Oh wow!
He could run.
Sounds like a superhero. This guy.
Yeah, he was a really good cop, man.
Yeah,
I think he ended up going to like major crime division and dealing with some like big dogs and things. But yeah, great guy, funny guy as well. Like you'd like him. But we were crewed up, and we got sent to a block of flats, quite close to the police station, called Carletman House. It's not a nice area, very anti-police area. Kind of people look at you and just spit on the floor and shit. So went into this flat, and it's a youngish couple and a little baby. And they said that like it's a criminal damage call, that someone had smashed their window. So oh shit. So we went to the address, and they were quite high up. They were like, I don't know, 5th or 6th floor. I'm thinking that's a hell of a. What the hell did broke the window? Unless it was an air rifle, like, because like the gaps between floors were quite big, so it was like very high up. So I thought, okay, let's go in and talk to the people, see what's happened. And we'd both been to that block many times for other people and had some pretty epic fights with some people and some standoffs and some fucking riots and shit.
Yeah.
So you always go there kind of like,
here we go.
Most people there don't like you.
Yeah.
So we went in, I was like, wow, this couple are really nice. They'd not been there for that long. I think it was like a lot of like council housing. So like, what do you call that in America? Like people that are on like benefits and things.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Like social housing, I think you call it.
Yeah. Like HUD housing or HUD, I think they call it, or
yeah. So it was
like they help people get housing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's normally like a waiting list, and people are waiting for ages to try and find a place. So they'd not been there for that long. So we could say, oh, what happened? Oh yeah, it's like in our kids' room. So I looked at the window, and it was like spidered up. The whole window was completely shattered, but in place because it was like double glazing.
Right.
So like the outer layer had completely smashed. So you can flip the window out. So I kind of looked over with my torch, and the outside of the window was dirty, but you could see like a perfect film of dirt on it, but I couldn't see an impact point. So I couldn't work out what happened to the window. So I was like, okay, like I'll put it on as a criminal damage, but I said to him, like, I don't like, it'll be reported, but I don't think it would go anywhere because I can't work out what's happened.
Yeah.
And they certainly didn't see anyone do it. So
what do you think it was?
I'm not sure. But that was only the beginning of why we were there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't think there was more. Crap.
Oh yeah, things got weird after that.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I was chatting. I said, have you got any enemies? It's just like we've just moved in. We don't know anyone here. So I'm like, okay. I said, has anything else happened? And then they kind of went quiet and looked at each other, and they were like, I said, you can tell me, if whatever anything happened. He said, well, there's some weird things happening in the flat. And like I was like, ping. I was like, I'm interested now.
Okay.
Looked at my mate
Tell
Chris.
Me more.
Chris was just like a bit wide-eyed. He was like, what the hell are they talking about? I says, so what happened? And the wife said she went to get her kid from the cot, the kids thing, and had loads of those little there's like Beanie Babies, those little soft toy things, like I don't know, like 25, 30 of them, all like little bears and things. And her child was in there, surrounded by these toys. She went in, picked up her child, went to go out the room, turned around, and all of them were stacked up along one side of the cot, like literally within seconds. And she was like, "What the hell?" Like I literally just turned around and bang, they're all like stacked up one side. So that freaked her out, and that freaked us both out.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's just not normal.
What could you tell her? Like,
Yeah.
Let me call the Ghostbusters. I don't know.
Then the husband said, "Yeah, there's some other things. There's another couple of things that happened." I says, "What else?" And he says, like, quite often when they're in bed sleeping, the kitchen tap turns on. And having had dripping taps in the past, it's normally like a little rubber O-ring,
right,
that wears away. And then, like, doesn't matter how hard you turn the tap off, it'll seep through. And he was like, no, it's not a drip. It's like, I've got to turn it it's turned all the way on, and all the way until as far as the tap goes. I've got to turn it all the way back round. I'm like, what? What explains that? It goes, that's happened a few times where they've been in bed, all of a sudden, it's on full power. So he's going to have to turn it off. Then this is the thing that kind of made my mate Chris want to leave. He said one time he went into the living room, turned the light on. As he turned the light on, there was a small girl in the corner of the room, like a child. He looked straight at it, and then it just disappeared. And I was like, what the hell? I'm thinking, okay, turning on of taps, toys being moved, like it's kind of things that a kid would do, like mucking about, playing around. So I was like, I said, I believe what you're saying. I don't know what I can do there. Like, I kind of feel bad for them because they're really nice people, and they were like they were genuinely freaked out, and they were like, we've waited so long to get this flat. If we say, we don't want it, we're going to go somewhere, that's going to be such a long wait to get somewhere else. And I was like, shit. It's just like, yeah, we're kind of stuck here then. I was like, okay. So I had to leave them to it.
Yeah.
We were both kind of quiet walking back to the car. We got back into the police car, and I had to update control of like the outcome of this call. So we both got in the car. We looked at each other, and he was like, "What the fuck,
what am I gonna say?"
We kind of like found a quiet corner, like a dead end road, parked up, just to gather ourselves.
Yeah.
And thought, how the hell are we going to tell control this? We're going to sound crazy. So instead of doing it over the radio that everyone could hear, I asked Control to ring me on my work phone. I was
I
like,
could
yeah.
see the other guys like, ooh.
So I'm like, yeah, Kid 0140, can I requesting a phone call, please? So, yeah, okay. Give us a minute. She called me. She goes, yeah, have you got an update? I said, yeah, this is going to be a bit weird. I explained to her everything, and she was freaked out. She was like, what the hell? I'm like, how do you think I feel? I was in that goddamn
Right.
phone.
Yeah, I was there.
And I was like, I can only put it down as like potential paranormal activity.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'll update the log, the call log,
Yeah.
and I'll have to close it off somehow. But yeah, that was pretty freakish.
I wonder if there's like classifications or something like within, like the
Yeah, like
police.
naming things. Yeah, like I was wondering that,
Because I
what
mean,
should
I'm
I do?
sure that, dispatch or people that do the calls or
Yeah,
whatever, like they have to, I mean, how do they process things that don't make sense or that don't have
yeah,
is there a protocol for that, I wonder?
yeah. I wonder because I've heard a few things. I think you go to anywhere in the world that there's a police force and someone there is going to have some interesting
Yeah.
experiences. Like there's been a few at my that I've heard of in my police station. Um, but that was that's one that stuck with me.
I just wonder, should there be a protocol? Should there be like, like, hey, because I've heard um, people that provide a service of like burning sage or reading,
Yeah,
the book or something like not maybe like a house exorcism or something where
mm,
like I know the police couldn't really like, hey, here's a card of, someone that
yeah,
maybe you could talk to.
yeah,
But I mean, that would be kind of an interesting thing, like acknowledging, I guess, that yes, there is things that are beyond I mean, I can't help you, but there's a service that you might be
mm,
able to contact to get some kind of, maybe resolution for you
mm,
guys, I don't know. But like speaking of protocol, and this is related but unrelated, was that I have a friend that works in air traffic control,
mm,
and I've always been fascinated by UFOs. And I said, is there like some kind of, well, first off, I asked them, have you seen, in your
yeah,
air traffic controlling, have you ever um had a call for a unidentified flying object or UAP? And he's like, no. He
mm,
goes, I know people that have had that on their shift where they call it in, like the pilot will call in like, hey,
mm,
I'm seeing something here, and what do I do? And I said, well, tell me what do you guys do when that situation? He goes, we have a book. Every air traffic control building, the system, there's a
mm.
binder, and that you go
Wow.
and you consult the binder that's, I guess, placed by some kind of committee or whatever. So that, and that, when you were talking about like what is the protocol
Mm,
for that, that's what popped into my mind. So for UAP and unidentified flying objects, there is an actual book that you open, and this is what you do, this is what you say, these are the numbers that you call. Like, he couldn't really go into it because it's
yeah, yeah,
not privileged, it's privileged information, but he
yeah.
kind of gave me the basic. I'm like, you read
It's
the book, right?
interesting.
And
That's
he's like,
really
oh yeah,
interesting.
I had to read the book. But it's interesting. So like, it
Yeah,
would be kind of cool if you guys in the
yeah,
police or fire or social working things, like, believe it or not, like, people can be closed-minded and say ghosts don't exist, goblins don't exist, monsters don't exist, um little green men, people, aliens doesn't exist. But guess what? There's so many more people that have seen shit that
mm,
will curl your toes. Like, it's out there. So like, why not have you know ways for people to deal with? Why not have like counseling for people that have experienced, like I got traumatized as a kid seeing ghosts. I talked about it on my first or second episode. Like I was mentally like screwed up by the things that I had seen and experienced. Like there should be like some kind of acknowledgement for, you know, yes, we're not admitting that this is real, but so many people have experienced this. Everyone knows someone that has seen something. So like unless you're calling everyone full of shit and liars, like there's real, like these things are real. These things do happen and occur. So it should be acknowledged and have some kind of classification and protocol.
There's people that have given accounts of things that have happened that have ended up having their entire lives ruined by like the media and their neighbors, and they're like, oh, it's all lies. And thinking, what? So I lied to like ruin me and my children's lives.
Exactly.
Like, you have to move away from this area because
why would I lie?
Why the hell would we do that?
Yeah.
So, you know, if there was a unit within the police that dealt with that, I never would have left.
Right. I'm kind of interested.
I want to be like a Fox Mulder in the police, you know?
Absolutely. Dude, I would be all in those files. I would be.
Yeah. I'd want that job for sure. Do you know, there was something that happened, the only personal experience that I can remember happened to me, and it was physical, was, you know, when I first started going out exploring, when I got into my photography during COVID, there was a lot, like in historic buildings, a lot of the big historic sites kind of like shut down. But the good thing is, like, we've got so many old churches here, and I'm not religious, but they're old buildings and they're still fascinating.
Absolutely.
Some of them are like, you know, over 1,000
architecture and
So like I was checking out loads of churches, doing a lot of moody black and white photography in the cemeteries and things. Kind of, you know, get some cool shots of weird trees and things. And I was at one church in a place called East Malling in Kent, not too far from me. It's about half an hour away. And it was in the daytime, probably in the summertime, so mid-morning, nice sunny day, really nice weather. So I was there on my own, checking this church out, really cool church. Lots of yew trees, which are my favorite type of tree. So I was out photographing the trees. And I had like a crossbody bag on my camera. It's quite a small bag. So I'm walking through the cemetery. They're like, I always look out for like interesting headstones, like the sculptures of angels, and some that are like half decayed and half broken. I like them for good photos. Very very Omen-esque, the movie, you know. So I take a picture of one, and I got pulled quite hard to the point where I almost fell over. Something grabbed my bag from behind and wrenched me, and I had to like stumble back to not fall on the floor, and like everything just went like electric, like just fear, I guess. And I was like, turn around quickly. I was like, there's nothing anywhere near me. Like, I've been walking through woods, if you're like trying to scramble through hedges, and like branches kind of get snagged in your bag and you kind of get pulled back to something. So I know that I've done it before, but there was nothing anywhere near me, nothing within about, I don't know, 10 plus feet that I could have snagged on. But I got pulled quite hard. Like, I thought someone had grabbed hold of me and pulled me. So I looked around, as no one was there, and I was genuinely freaked. I kind of quickly, I had the presence of mind to quickly just like snap my camera like just everywhere.
That's a good. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't capture anything, but you know what? I didn't feel any malice, like any bad intent. It was like someone tried to get my attention. So I kind of calm myself down, calm my breathing down, use all of my old martial arts skills, thinking, okay, get a grip of yourself.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I carried on for another like 25 minutes, half an hour. finish off my photography.
Yeah.
And I felt fine, you know. I felt fine. Went back to that same spot before I left, and didn't feel anything weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, I'm not hurt. A bit freaked out, but not hurt. And got in the car, drove home. But I kept thinking about that, like I kept thinking about like what the hell that was like. Was it relating to the grave I was photographing? Was it them that were like, "Oi, what are you doing?" Or was it something else letting me know?
Yeah.
That they're there or what? But like,
Yeah.
I've never been. That's the only experience I've had. I mean, I've never seen. No, I've not seen anything. But it just came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like cemeteries in general, like I like going to because they're so quiet, so chilled out.
Peaceful.
Like, yeah, it's a nice place to go to kind of get your thoughts and relax, and there's nothing there can harm you. Like,
Right.
it's just
because they're gone. The energy's gone.
Yeah,
It's not there. Now that might attract other, and I have a story for another episode. You'll have to watch, but yeah, a little teaser. The only time, so my sister felt something and I felt something, like you talking about a force. But I think it takes a lot of energy to move things, to throw things across the room. I think there's a cost that it does take a lot. But so my sister, so I had mentioned this house, that was the first time that I experienced ghost, this house in Lancaster, California, and my sister thought that our dad had come home and he had moved behind her to go get something out of the fridge or something. She's like, "Hey, Dad," and she turns around and he's not there. And she freaked out, like, because she felt like, when you feel the presence of someone next to you. And she thought in her mind that it can only be our dad. Like, there's no one else that's coming home. There's no one else that would be here. I think I was at school or something. And so, like, she was so confident that that feeling was her dad, our dad, that she's like, "Hey, Dad, you're home early or something." And then when she turned around and there was no one there, I mean, she moved out like shortly after that.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I felt something, not in that house, not in that house per se. We had moved from that house that was the most haunted place I'd ever been to. We had left there, thank God, and moved to like this little condo. And I remember I was asleep in my bed. I was probably 14 or 15. And I had stayed up late. It was like a Friday or Saturday night. And I was watching TV, and I had a little single-sized bed for, like a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching TV, and I don't remember if I turned off the TV or not, but I was right on the edge of sleep. And all of a sudden, and I've heard this before, and I don't know, there might be a name for it, but it felt like someone took their whole body and like just slammed it on your body.
Yeah.
So like I was kind of like this, watching TV or whatever, and I was just about dozing off, and it felt like a full-sized person just did like this body slam, and it knocked the wind out of me. I go, ugh. And it like you said, it like instantly woke me up, but like electric, like fear, like, like all synapses were going, and like, what the hell, just like, because I felt like my body felt like it was being attacked. So like my reaction was just like, alarm, what's going on? And I like get up, and like my room is like empty. There is nobody in my room. My door is closed. The TV is still on or whatever. And that just like, what was that? What was that? Because like I could say, I've heard things or maybe whatever on the edge of sleep. It's kind of like that dream state where you're like, things could happen. But this was like a physical. So like if you were laying in bed, Feizal, and someone came and like slapped your head, like you would know, like, okay, that wasn't sleep. Someone actually like, touched me, or like physically did something to me. So it was like a full body, like somebody just did like a cannonball or body slam on my body, and I could feel myself pushed into the mattress, like as they slammed me down into the mattress, like I felt like that. And I remember I was like, ugh, and it just like freaked me out, like, but I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm like, what do I, like you look around, but it's like, I don't know how to react here. You know what I mean? What am I gonna go? I'm gonna go tell my dad, like, Dad, I just got body slammed by a ghost. What do I, and you don't even know if it is a ghost. I don't know what that was.
It's hard to explain to people. That's reminded me once, in the flat I'm in now, something similar happened to me like that. Most people call it sleep paralysis.
I've heard of that, and that freaks me out, man.
And I think some people speculate that it's when your brain wakes up before your body does. So your body doesn't move. But I'd wake up, and I explained to my sister and my mum. My sister was like, "Oh, you must have been dreaming." I was like, "I wasn't. I literally woke up, and quite a lot of light was coming through. The room was quite light because a lot of light was coming through the window. The curtains were drawn, but they're not very good. So it wasn't like my room was dark or anything. It was weird. Like it was. I went to get up, and like I couldn't move, and like it was like something was standing on my chest, and I was like
an iron force that just immovable.
Yeah, I'm a pretty strong guy, and I was like, shit. And then I was like,
this guy's a big guy. He's not no little dude. This guy is solid, thick man.
Big man. I looked around the room, and I was like, what the fuck do I do now? Like,
right. Like your brain,
I can't call to anyone.
It's like a short circuit. Like
and I was like, I tried. I was like, fuck, I can't. I was like, great, I'm stuck. I kind of like lied there. And then eventually I was able to get up, and I was like, what the hell was that? Like, I'd heard of it, but I was like, wow, like I never thought it ever happened to me.
I've never experienced that.
It's only happened once. But yeah, like for that, I don't. And I know there's a lot of stories and tales about succubus and incubus and sleep demons, and even the origin of the word nightmare comes in like a horse and things. But a lot of that, I think, comes from things like sleep paralysis, where I think it may well be that your brain's woken up before your body has.
Right.
So you're like, I need to go. Your body's like, your body's
You're
out.
Not going anywhere. Yeah. I mean,
that feels like shit. Like, it's scary.
I can imagine not being able
to
that's move.
Probably more what it is. Well, obviously that's given birth to a lot of interesting, really cool stories. Like, I really love like all the myths and legends and folklore and things.
Yeah.
And in this country, we've got loads of like old folklore.
I can't imagine, man.
Celtic times and things.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine all the.
Yeah.
Even the stuff that might have been forgotten, or lost to time, but. I think there's something more with sleep. I think there's, like it's like they haven't really fully explained what your brain is doing, like when you're asleep, like dreams and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. It's a mystery, I think.
I think some people speculate that it's kind of like your brain kind of like I guess like how a computer, like every now and again, you just like defragment it to kind of like make sure it runs properly and get rid of old files, delete shit you don't need, empty your recycle bin. But I think that's pretty much what your body does, what your brain does when you go to sleep.
Right. It's like running scenarios and
worry about doing all this other shit that you do when you're awake. It's like your body's just like boom, it's just staying there now. So it's like it just processes all this shit. So
remember one time
I think that's a lot of it is. A lot of it is that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still pretty mysterious stuff.
I remember my sister told me, here's one. When I was young, we had weird shit happen to us as kids. But I just never really thought about it. It was just like, you just deal with it. But my sister would say that when I was little, I was probably, I don't know, 10, 9. And she said that she would go, maybe I was a little bit older. Her and my stepmom would go to the store like late at night. And I would watch TV until I would fall asleep on the couch, and I would just sleep on the couch overnight. And my sister said sometimes, and she was kind of mentioning this in passing. I'm like, that's weird. She would say that sometimes they would come home and my sister would talk to me, and she would see that I'm, she would like, hey, she called me brother. That was my nickname. Hey brother, we just got back from the store, or hey brother, I got you, a Snickers or something. And she said she would walk by and look at me and she would think that I was awake, but she said that I was looking at her, but like I didn't say anything. And she was like, look at me. And she goes, brother, your eyes were like really dark. And like you would just stare at me and it freaked me out. And I would be like calling you, like, and she's like, I think you're asleep, but like your eyes were open looking at me. But she goes, your eyes were like super dark. My eyes are like a brown, but like she was like, they were not that color, like they were like black or whatever. And like it freaked her out because I would just be sitting there like this little kid who's like, laying on the couch and like looking at her as she was like, I would get freaked out and leave the room. I'm like, I don't remember that.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember that. But like, who knows? Like, what's going on? Like, when you're asleep, who knows what's going on in your mind, or if something comes in and takes over control of your body or something. I don't know. Who's to say, man? But it freaked her out. I'm gonna have to ask her about that again. She actually watches this show, so maybe she'll leave a comment and talk about that. But yeah, she would be like, hey, I got back, and she'll look at me and see that I'm like staring at her and not saying anything, and and she'd be calling me and get freaked out, and she'd like go into her room and lock the door or something. But I don't know, man. Life is full of mysteries, dude. Oh, hang on just a second. I'm getting summoned by my father-in-law here. 1 sec.
I've got a very interesting one.
Yeah,
regarding
let me hear.
An ex-girlfriend. How much time have we got? Because I can save this one for the next one, another one if you want.
Let's save it. Let's save it, and we'll do a part 2 with Feizal. I would love to talk more about stuff. And I can share some more stories that I have too, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and hit your mom up. Maybe your mom has got some, she's got some more juicy ones.
She's got 1, just 2. Yeah, there's another like 5 plus.
Oh yeah, yes.
So
let's do a part 2.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time, but yeah, let's leave them wanting for more, man. Let's leave them wanting for more. But I thank you so much for your time, dude. I had an excellent time. Thank you for reaching out to me. People that are watching and enjoying this show, reach out to me if you want to be on this show. If you have some stories, I would love to hear them. I promise I will not make fun of you. I am totally open for any kind of story that you want to tell. I am I'm ready and wanting to hear. So Feizal, I will reach out. We will do this again, hopefully within the next week or so. We will reconvene, and we will have some fresh stories for our viewers.
Yeah, I've got some more freaky stuff. Thank you so much.
Wait. Of course, man.
I really enjoy this.
Me too. I can't wait for you to come back.
Will do.
See you guys next time. Thank you very much.
See you. Take care.